Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. So the butterfly effect is the concept that a seemingly trivial event, right? You do something that you wouldn't even think of, what you decide to wear to work, or maybe a small decision like what you're going to order at a restaurant, right? Doesn't sound like it has a lifelong impact on your future, right? Has a significant change on the future that if you went back in time and did it differently, would completely cause a drastic change, right? And I seem to be a magnet of big butterfly effects. And I was just mentally thanking my most recent butterfly, and my biggest one probably in my life. What had happened is, this is Paradise Valley Community College. I'm teaching calculus here. I just had some good rapport with my new boss because of my art, right? Mondrian squares with foil paper. And then I thought about two butterfly effect events. Both of them needed to happen in order for me to get to my art project. Number one, I was teaching at a tutoring center, and I had a really toxic boss. And actually, had the boss not been toxic, the butterfly effect might not have happened. I'll get to why in a second. I had a rather toxic boss. I had a student, he was studying AP chemistry, and a lot of times, because I didn't get along with my boss, I would often hide out by having good rapport with the students, right? To escape the bad feelings with the boss. So I really got along with all of my students. To give you an idea of how well I got along with all of my students, I had a student who was in fifth grade. He had an older sister who was in eighth grade, and the older sister had a best friend, also 14, 15 years old, and she was pregnant, the friend of his older sister. And he commented a lot about it. And I really didn't want to answer him. And I told him, I said, some people have a romantic feeling for themselves, and if that's strong, they can get themselves pregnant. I knew that wasn't true, but he was in fifth grade. He actually believed me because I get along with my students so well, and the way I described it made it sound like it could be possible. I was trying to get the kids to accept the concept of romance with themselves, right? And he believed me. The older students probably didn't believe me, but they went along with it because they wanted to shut him up. And he believed me. And so that was really funny. And later on, he told his mom, and his mom also played along with it. That's how much I get along with the students. Anyway, one of my students who was studying AP chemistry decided to bring this really fancy periodic table to the classroom. It had pictures of all of the elements, and it showed the rarity of all of the elements. I was going to show him why silver and platinum are a really good investment at the moment. Right? Platinum's rarer than gold. It was 3 times cheaper. Silver is only 10 times more common than gold. It's going for 1/100th the price. I was showing my student that when I realized that bismuth is even rarer, and it's almost as rare as gold, going for like thousands of times cheaper at the time, right? And so that's when I began my bismuth art career. Now, how did I get into the Mondrian art squares? Well, one day I was looking for an art show. I got really excited about an upcoming art show. But the day of the show, and here's another butterfly effect. I am autistic. I sometimes am not very well organized. As a result, I lost the information. It was the morning of the show. I was frantically looking for it. Long story short, I ended up at the wrong art show, went to a completely different art show. And so I learned about the Mondrian art. And so here we are 2 years later. Now, had I went to the right art show, had I not had the toxicity with my boss and good rapport with the students, had the student forgotten to bring that periodic table to class, right? Any number of things could have interrupted this chain of events that led to the meeting with my boss yesterday. That's the crazy part about it. I cannot express how crazy that is, that just one little detail that nobody would think about, right? People forget to bring their notes to class all the time, right? It's not like, usually it's not going to be life changing, right? It's not going to cause somebody to not make $200,000 because they didn't invest in some precious metal. It's generally not going to cause them to not develop an art career. Usually not, right? Usually when you forget to bring your notes, you forget to bring your notes, right? It's just insane to now look back at it. And so what's really scary is the concept that perhaps, just perhaps, I don't know, but you may have killed somebody or seriously hurt somebody due to a butterfly effect. You could have also saved somebody's life due to a butterfly effect as well. Probably more likely to do that, right? But there is a possibility that you could have killed somebody. Let me give you an example, and you can Google this. On the day of 9/11, we're coming up to the anniversary. On the day of 9/11, there was this office worker. He was on the 105th floor as an insurance agent on the 105th floor of the North Tower when one of his colleagues had forgotten to bring his ID to work and called him, "Hey, can you come down? I forgot my ID." And he had a secretary, but she was 8 months pregnant. And so he decided to go down. It was 8:40 in the morning. And he gets down. It takes like 5 minutes. He's got to take 2 or 3 sets of elevators because of the way the building is designed. He gets in the lobby. He's really upset. "Which one of you knuckleheads forgot your ID?" And as soon as he said that, boom. And so I don't know how I would feel. The fact that I took somebody, if my secretary was supposed to come down here and I took her place, I'd probably go back into the building to die with her if that were me. I'd be really traumatized by that, right? So the guy who forgot his ID saved this guy's life, and because he decided to be nice, he killed his secretary. It's just full of butterfly effects, right? Anyway, have you ever killed somebody or saved somebody? Have you ever had your life saved because of a butterfly effect? Leave a comment if you know you have. I can't think of a time where a butterfly effect saved my life. But the art project is probably the big one. I've had negative butterfly effects. Usually they're not terribly negative. I'll look back and think, gee, had this thing not happened this way, maybe I could have gotten this date with a girl. That has happened a few times. I've never had something where I really lost out due to a butterfly effect, right? Although I got into a car accident one time. I was driving a Honda Accord and I totaled it. And I remember thinking, just before I left for that trip involving the accident, I had a long-winded conversation with somebody. I was saying, gee, if only I hadn't had that long-winded conversation, it would have been a different time when I got to the intersection, right? But then again, there's probably been other times where a conversation like that has prevented a car accident, right? So it's hard to say, right? This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.